Yo, I'm Scuffy and this is Synthwave part 2. I'm gonna put a timestamp so you can skip the part where I talk and jump right into the tutorial because I want to talk a little bit. I'm gonna make this little change of format for when I do multiple videos on a certain subject because you know, the concept did not change. The first video I made is perfectly fine for it, but now we're just changing it, the formula a little bit, because we're actually trying to emulate the style of a particular artist. So I'm gonna make this little change of format, and hopefully I can make videos quicker and I can make more of them, and I really enjoy making them, but I don't think the overly edited and all that style is really effective for me because it takes a lot of time, and I think I'm just gonna make one video like this on the genre and then switch over to this format to make quicker videos, because just making the song takes a lot of time. So when I want to make multiple videos on certain genres, I'm just gonna switch the format and it's gonna go way quicker. The reason this video hasn't come out when I wanted it to, because it took a little bit of time. You know, when I released the song Lightspeed on my channel, I actually meant to release the video right after, like before the La 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 instrumental, but my fucking graphics card fan broke in half in my computer and fell down in the bottom of my case. So that was very unfortunate. I had to, you know, do the old RMCA thing and get another one, and this is not even my actual replacement for the card. It's a new one I bought on Newegg, refurbished, pretty good card, and R9 Fury for the one interested, and yeah, it was a fucking steal, so I jumped on it, even if it's an older card. Anyway, so now I can actually do the tutorial on this song that I released. So yeah, if you want to check this song out, it's called Lightspeed. It's up on my channel, and it's a Carpenter Brut style synthwave track. And I'm not gonna go over all of the MIDI tracks and all of this, because it's gonna take a while, and it's not really the point. I don't want you to copy my song exactly. I just want you to grasp the concepts I add onto this song rather than, you know, copy the whole thing. So first of all, I pinned 3 main focuses to take in consideration when making a Carpenter Brut type song. First of all, you got to take the listener places. You know, he changes the style and the pace a lot in the song. You know, that's why there's a huge difference between this part, which is like a little build up for this little breakdown, and then you jump to what I think is like the hook, the chorus, because another point of Carpenter Brut, his songs are very catchy. You know, they stick in your head, which is strange. Well, not that much, but you know, when you do such experimental music like synthwave, it's hard. When you're into a genre so experimental, it's hard to make your songs catchy, I feel like. So Carpenter Brut definitely did a great job at making a song catchy, and this is what we try to aim for when making these types of songs. This is not really a focus more than something you have to do with sidechain. You have to route all of the melodic pads, leads, and all that to a sidechain bus, and make it. That's why it sounds bouncy. That's why you want to bop your head to it. Just gonna preview what it sounds like. You know, if you look at the levels, it bounces because all of these pads and these, you can see actually the routing going on. All of these pads and lead, there's no lead going on for now, but when it kicks in, you can see that it's also routed to this, which has a growth speed. On the sidechain preset, I just messed with this a little bit just so I can adjust my timing of the sidechaining, and you can see the levels going on. This is another sidechain for this part because it's not 4-on-4, you know. So what I do for the sidechaining when it kicks into this part is that I take the actual sidechain track and route it there, but in this part, as you can see, the growth speed is actually with an automation turned off, and all of the routed tracks go onto this sidechain instead, which is not time based. It's you know, based on the kick. So when the kick kicks in, all of the other channels duck. So this is my setting. The kick is sidechain there. Everything is routed there. This has the fruity limiter with these settings and this and this, and this is what makes the sidechaining for this irregular part. And I'm gonna fucking turn it off because I'm getting sick of hearing it. And alright, so yeah, you got this sidechain, like everything, and match it with the kick and the snare, and this is why it sounds so bouncy. So whoops, these are pretty much the 3 main focus you gotta have, that gotta stick in your head when you're making a Carpenter Brut type song. Take the listener places, sidechain, and make it catchy. And yeah, so let's go over a couple things I did for the ARP. You know, it's an arpeggiator, but I actually MIDI mapped it myself. And I can actually show you how I made it exactly, because it's a really fancy sound that I think y'all gonna like. So what I did is I actually took gonna wait for it to load, Omnisphere, an Omnisphere preset called Age of Computations, which oddly sound like the arpeggiator from the opening from Stranger Things. And what I did is there is this ARP for arpeggiator that is turned on usually, but I turned it off and used only the A side of the synth of the synth, fuck it, only use the A side of the synth and made myself a little cool arpeggiator on the MIDI piano roll. So that's how I made it. And as you can see, if I look in the mixer, it's pretty low in terms of levels. Sorry. And for stereo separation, it's all the way separated because I liked how it sound, and EQ'd a little bit. Oh my god, EQ'd a lot. Don't know why it's EQ'd that way, but if it sounds good, if it works, it works. And yeah, that's pretty much it for that. Another thing that Carpenter Brut did on Turbo Killer that I liked a lot is actually using a church organ. I really dig that sound. Just yeah, it kicks in at this part. I don't know if you can hear it. All right. So yeah, he likes to use a church organ, and it's on this loop right there, and all there is to it is that it's just waiting for it to load, and it's an Omnisphere preset called Pipe Organ Cathedral, and it sounds like this on its own. Now it's sidechain, of course, because it's linked to this, but if we look at its channel rack, all we got is reverb. These are my settings, a lot of reverb and some EQing, and in the whole mix it sounds really Carpenter Brut-ish, I think, right there. And it's even more prominent in this part, I think, just because of how I used it. You can see I use it the same way I used the other pads and such, and it just blends with the other sound and other sounds, and it sounds really good in my opinion. For these sounds, I know I'm not mentioning a lot of the synthwave sounds. They're almost just Omnisphere presets, and you can use all the material I showed in the first video. That's why it's not the same format, you know, because a lot of it is just reutilization, and it's basically the same formula as the first video, but more brutal, more catchy, I think, and you know, more bouncy with the sidechaining going on. Next, another thing I liked a lot, I think it's from the Disco Italia something song I heard, something like that, but we take a vocal loop and we vocode it. I think it sounds so cool. So what it is, it's just a vocal loop from a free pack I found on the internet, which on its own sounds like this. So yeah, pretty unimpressive, but when you vocode it, sounds really cool. And how I did that is you take your vocal loop and you route it. I messed with the pitch and timing a little bit, but you don't have to bother memorizing or even looking at that. So I tracked it to the 31 track. And on here I put an auto-tune. The auto-tune is just so it's on the the same scale as the song, but it doesn't matter too much. And then you got the vocodex, and the vocodex has to be, you know, linked to a synthesizer, to a synth. It has to be linked to a synth so it makes the cool sound. And then reverb and EQing. These are my settings: reverb, EQing. I'm not too sure how I made it. I just messed with it and it sounds like that. Anyway, you're gonna try to vocode vocal loop with a vocoder to make some vibes. And if you'd like a vocoding tutorial on my channel, just let me know and I'm gonna make one. But for now, I'm not too sure how I made that. I just messed with it and it sounds like that. And alright, and the automation you can see there are like for the sidechaining. This is the sidechaining that goes one on the floor. This is the sidechaining for the breakdown-ish part. Just gonna unmute everything for the breakdowny parts. So yeah, all the these are for that. This is for this bass, because when the other bass kicks in, it did not stop when the loop stopped. So the trick to correct this kind of problem is just to use an automation on the volume and cut it when you want. So yeah, basic stuff. Before going over this automation, I have to show you a little trick I made to have a really cool lead guitar sound, you know. So in this loop, there's a lot going on. So you got what I call here the screamy lead. Pretty basic, just an Omnisphere preset, the lead. Like an EDM-ish lead, and synth guitar, I called it. The reason it sounds so much like a guitar, it's just because it's a very basic synthesizer linked to, just gonna go over here, Guitar Rig 5, which is an amp sim emulator, you know, just like if you wanted to play guitar on your computer, you'd plug your guitar in the computer and run it through this plugin. FL Studio does not have one stock, but you can look up online VST amp simulators to find one. There's some free ones out there, but I used the Guitar Rig 5 and linked it to a synthesizer, and it sounds just absolutely brutal. So the whole thing sounds like this. So this is how I made, and basically, yeah, you hear that. This is what happens when you release the note, and it's pretty annoying, you know, it lasts forever. So this automation is just for cutting this sound off when it actually stops, and this is just because I was too lazy to make another point. You can do that, it's gonna sound the same. Another trick you can use a lot, which I use in my other song too, it's just to make risers, drum fills, you know, to all this good stuff, which is gonna make your drop hit a whole lot harder. For the basses, I can actually show the presets for some of these. Like this is a Serum bass I made. You know, you just mess with the screen. You can actually look at how I made it and copy it. You gotta put some resonance to have the sweeping sound, and you gotta make an LFO and link stuff to it. If you don't know how to use Serum, I'd look up some tutorials on that. Very useful, very powerful, and easy to use VST. Yeah, that's it for this one. And what I did is I used the same bass in the chorus, the hook, but I added another one, which I cutted most of the bass frequencies, just because I wanted to add texture, so it sounds like this, the whole thing. Just gonna, but if I turn the main bass off, it's not that brutal, it's just noise. There's barely any bass in that, and I did that just to add some more punch, some more distortion to the main bass sound, because when you mix both together, it's absolutely brutal. And I can show you how I did this, because the main bass sound is not, you know, aggressive bass. It's not that complicated, it's not that convoluted. If I show you, it's the preset Cut Me Real Deep Down from Omnisphere, and it's a stock preset, pretty sure. But if you look into the mixer, what I did, if I turned off all of the effects, it's just, but this is not the sound I was looking for, so I cutted the bass and added some low mid and some treble just to make it sound more thin. Alright, and then for the limiter, just because I didn't want to hear too much dynamic range, so I just put a limiter, and then you put a gross beat with some like trance gate tree preset, and don't put it all the way through so it doesn't cut too harshly, and you got this kind of sound. And when you mix it a whole lot, it makes the hook, the chorus, shine a lot, I think. And yeah, for the last part, when you struggle a lot making chord progression, the trick you can do, which I showed in my how to make bedroom pop tutorial, is you can use these little trick. You go into stamp, and then you can use like, let's say you make a sadder song. You know, there's two main melodic scale, major and minor, and it's these two, major and minor natural. Major is usually used to make more upbeat song, and minor is used to make usually more sad songs or emotional songs. This song is on the emotional side, you know, it's a thrilling song, I like to think. So, and when you use this stamp, you can actually look and, oh yeah, this is in this scale, this song is in this scale, so you can use that to know which notes you can use within the scale to make your chords, and it makes chord building way easier. And what I'd recommend when you struggle with that is to use that when you start making your song. You choose a scale, even if like it doesn't really matter, you can just do it like randomly. You choose you want to make sad song, alien, and poof, okay, I'm gonna make a sound in B minor now. You know, to know the name of the scale, you just take the root note, and this is what it is. So yeah, just a little trick for chord progression building. And for mastering, I put a limiter because I don't watch my levels too much. You know, it clips a lot of the time. If you can, like here, oh, clips. And Carpenter Brut as a style, he really doesn't like dynamic range. So it doesn't matter too much. You just slap a limiter on and it's just gonna cut out everything that goes past the red line. And it's good for this type of song because you want it to sound a whole lot brutal. And then I just slap in my mastering plugin and mess with everything a little. These are my channels if you want to copy them or whatever. Works pretty good for this song. And yeah, it's pretty much it for that. And thanks a whole lot for watching. Hope you liked it. Hope you liked the new format. It's pretty bare bone bootleg, but I like it. It's more talking, less editing. I like it. Makes me practice my English. And yeah, hope you liked it. Leave a like, subscribe, and see you on the next one. Peace.